Hey guys, I hope you're all doing very well. Welcome back to another video. And Star Wars cannot stop getting worse. Now, I'm just going to hit things up immediately. I haven't watched anything good on Disney Plus for a very long time. The last thing on Disney Plus I watched was the Echo TV show, which is a Marvel show. And really that show was just miserable to watch. I really couldn't stay up and watch the whole 6 episodes that was pretty much just released right away to straight off binge, because watching even the first 2 episodes was practically just a cure for my insomnia. So I literally just gave up at that point. Now there has been like some good shows on there. There was a recent show called Shogun. I haven't watched it yet. I'm sure it is good from the reception that it has received, and hopefully I will get around to seeing it. But apart from that, like the major IPs that Disney have, Star Wars, Marvel, they've not exceeded my expectations at all for the most part. Now, a new Star Wars TV show has just landed called The Acolyte. And I'm just going to be honest, it's not very good. Now, The Acolyte is a new Star Wars TV show. Now, I think Star Wars TV shows have not really exceeded any of my expectations at all. Like, the only really few passable TV shows that I've seen from the Star Wars brand since Disney's takeover was probably the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, Andor, and to some extent, and I really say some extent because it was really only just a few glimpses of these episodes, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ahsoka. That's it. Apart from that, everything else has just been boring. Book of Boba Fett was so boring. Mandalorian Season 3 was so boring. But I swear to God, The Acolyte is literally just getting boring with each episode I watch. Now, the best description I describe this show is literally has nothing to even really glimpse of anything of what this show achieves. There's really nothing that you could really point to this show for any moments, any real sense of development, story, characters, nothing. It is honestly the most painful Star Wars show I have seen. And this is 3 episodes out of 8 already, and I'm really just don't understand how this show gets any better, because the writing is just so messy. I watched the 3rd episode very recently, and I swear to God, just snoozing myself up for just the amount of vomit dialogue that this show has that doesn't ever progress with any narrative structure at all was so tiresome. I swear. I felt like I was just in a time loop. My brain just somehow had to reconnect with the whole dialogue between Osha and May and all these, her mother and these sort of ritual people that were doing like an interpret, dance and shit like that. It was so insufferable. But hey, I could be wrong. Maybe The Acolyte could be a good show and it gets better. But you know what? I highly doubt it. Already this show is already getting a real divide between the critics and the audience. I genuinely think at this point that Disney is paying the critics to really somehow review this show and give it, high, well-received scores and positive reviews across the board. But the audience aren't buying it. And certainly for me, I'm not buying it either. I'm just really got into a point where I'm just in a phase of psychosis with this show. Just completely numb of any sort of joy or moments, nothing. It's just one of the most lifeless Star Wars series I've seen. That's a bit harsh because most Star Wars series have been lifeless anyway. But anyways, the reason I want to also talk about this as well is because there's also, not only I've been saying that this show is a show that achieves nothing, but even Disney themselves have literally said it achieves nothing as well. I've been scrolling through my social media, like just scrolling through shorts and reels these days, which seems to be like the typical brain rot individual would go through, just scrolling through 10 seconds of your feed every single day. And surprisingly, the advert of The Acolyte that Disney put up came up. I watched it, and I have to tell you, it's so bad that I genuinely think the higher-ups who made this show must hate the Star Wars franchise. Let me show you.
What do you need to know about Star Wars before you see The Acolyte?
This isn't about good or bad. This is about power and who is allowed to use it.
The Acolyte is now streaming on Disney+.
I love it when videos like this just sum this show up. It pretty much just does my job for me. Yeah, what do you need to know about The Acolyte before watching this Star Wars show? Nothing. You don't need to know anything. No surprise from what you watched. Here's a question. Did the Jedi and Sith really matter in Star Wars? Is it really about good or bad? No, it's not. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I genuinely believe that the higher ups at Disney or Lucasfilms must hate this franchise. There's really no way that anyone that works at that company is really a Star Wars fan. I mean, everything that, that's taken the inspiration from what George Lucas wanted to create has really not been there for taken for any inspiration with this show at all. Like the promotion of that video said, nothing matters. It doesn't matter if it's about good or bad, Jedi, Sith, or what that really means. It doesn't really matter if you watch anything in relation to Star Wars to start watching this show. So who are you targeting in this show? Nobodies? Are you somehow going to get new people into watching Star Wars? Because Star Wars is a big franchise, and there's lots of lore and stories and different sort of universes. Well, I don't know about universes, but stories that have different sort of timelines that really happen. So I assume people, most likely would probably watch other Star Wars episodes, movies, or TV shows to kind of get into the Acolyte to get some sense of it. But obviously they don't want to do that for you. This show is really hard to really, really crank my brain into really thinking about who this show is really for. Does it really care about the Star Wars audience? I really highly doubt that at this point. I think the only thing that this franchise is only living off is the name. Apart from the name Star Wars, anything else is just irrelevant at this point. But anyways, let me know what you think of The Acolyte if you have watched it or not. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts of it. Please like, comment, subscribe, dislike if you want to dislike. And yeah, that's about it. See you later.